The issue with the Nigerian army right now in Abia State, what's going on right now, we're reading it in the papers, we've seen the videos, there's been exaggerated claims on both sides. But here's the thing, President Muhammadu Buhari, he actually created this mess. Nnamdi Kanu, let me ask you, you watching me right now, I'm going to ask you, you watching me, did you know who Nnamdi Kanu was before President Muhammadu Buhari had him arrested? Yeah, neither did I. I did not know who he was. I mean, he was more or less a nobody. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I know you IPOP people, you're very, very good, with the media. No, don't come after me. I don't mean that in a bad way. But until he was arrested by President Muhammadu Buhari, he was a nobody. The president actually created Nnamdi Kanu, actually made him a celebrity, actually made him a star, gave him the power that he has right now. And you see, if the president had just ignored him, and let him come in and let him go out and let him do... Listen, there's something that Margaret Thatcher, she said, the Iron Lady, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, there's something she said. She said, I don't care how much my ministers talk, as long as they do what I say. You don't focus on what people say, you focus on what they do. I mean, right now you have empowered the young man to do a lot more damage to you than he would have been if you had not arrested him. What was he doing? Radio Biafra? How many people are listening to Radio Biafra? Right now you've made the boy into this big celebrity. I mean, I was watching a video and I was reading it up. I think was it in Punch or where was it? I was watching somewhere, and then a Turkish diplomat had actually gone to Nnamdi Kanu's house to go and pay a courtesy visit to him, and then they took a picture of them and they were discussing. I mean, that's how big you have made him by doing what you did to him. I'll give you a very good example. So how many of you remember in 1999 when Obasanjo was president? How many of you remember that there was a Sharia crisis? It started in Zamfara State with Sani, the governor then, Sani Yarima, and then it started moving all over. And even our current president, President Muhammadu Buhari, said it that I will always show openly and within me a total commitment to the Sharia movement that is currently moving across the nation. How many of you remember that? Imagine what would have happened if Obasanjo had impeached Governor Sani Yarima, or if he had him arrested, or if he had gone to Kaduna State and then just arrested a bunch of people and said, okay, what you're doing is affecting the national security interest of the country, or is unconstitutional. I mean, imagine what he would have done, what would have happened. First and foremost, the country would have gone up in flames. Something like 2,000 people died in Kaduna in 2000, the Sharia riots. I'm telling you, 20,000 people would have died. But what did Obasanjo do? He ignored them. And I can't forget what he said. He made a statement. He said, political Sharia will fade away, but the real Sharia will stay. Is that not what happened? That's a leader. That's a real leader. So, they should have just, President Muhammadu Buhari should have left Nnamdi Kanu to just be. I'll give a very good example, another example. A lot of people don't really realize that Mohammed Yusuf, the founder of Boko Haram, he wasn't violent. Mohammed Yusuf was a charismatic preacher. He was somebody that you could admire because he was very charismatic. He hated injustice. He hated what was happening in where the people were not actually doing zakat to the poor members of society. I mean, he was a charismatic, and he understood and he knew the Quran. I've read the Quran. The Quran, when you read the Quran is, I know some of you, you are Christians. I'm a Christian pastor, and you say I shouldn't say this, but I've read the Quran, and really, when you read the book, it's a very beautiful book. It's poetic, and then it has. I'll give you a very good example. The Quran mentions Mary, the mother of Jesus, Isa. The Quran mentions her 85 times. There's a whole chapter in the Quran about Mary. So this man was a charismatic preacher. And then they had him killed. First, they had him arrested, and then they had him killed. And what happened? Boko Haram just exploded, became radicalized, and then it's a problem to Nigeria today. Yesterday, Wole Soyinka gave an interview. It was in all the papers, I'm sure you saw it. He said, Nigerians are less secure today than they were under Jonathan. It's because of Boko Haram. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari should understand this. History does not repeat itself. Actually, men repeat history. President Muhammadu Buhari is repeating the history that that happened under President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua's era. And you know, it's quite a coincidence. They were both from Katsina State. This man, Nnamdi Kanu, look, what you have done, you have created a big problem for yourself by arresting the man, by making him so famous. Okay, now, I think what the president should do, should try to contain that. But by sending soldiers to Abia, I think he's from Abia, right? That's where the soldiers are, right? Yeah. By sending soldiers to Abia to surround his house, and then, you know, we don't know, I mean, the truth about it all. The IPOB says one thing, the Nigerian army says one thing. Look, you should have avoided all that controversy. Do you know, if you want this boy's agitation to die a natural death, what you should do is ignore him. Ignore him. Look, publicity and persecution is the oxygen he needs to grow his struggle. Ignore him. Look, if you had wanted this IPOB and this Biafra struggle to, this Biafra agitation to die, you know what you would have done? In your appointments, all you should have just done was justice, equity. Look at NNPC, you just overwhelmingly appointed, was it 67% Northerners, right? It was 67% Northerners, because I deal in facts. If you had balanced your appointment, giving everybody, you know, a balanced appointment, and then you give people from the Southeast, you know, give them their own just due in the Federal Civil Service, in the security arm. Look at all the military and all these police and all the security chiefs. Overwhelmingly from the north, and not just from the north, from your part of the north. If you had done equity, I'm telling you, it would have been so easy. You would have just won the hearts and the minds of the people of the Southeast. Because what are they saying? Why are they asking for, why are they agitating for Biafra? They are agitating for Biafra because they feel that they are not being well treated by the current Nigerian government. And I'll give you a very good example. The military says they are doing a show of force in Abia State. Now listen, I think last Thursday, 20 people were killed in Ancha village in Jos. I think it's in the, if I'm not mistaken, it's in the Meyango district of Jos. 20 people were killed. They were killed by Fulani herdsmen. That's what the papers say, alleged Fulani herdsmen. 20 people were killed. Now, excuse me, if the military wants to do a show of force, why not go there? How many people have been killed in Abia? How many people have been killed in Abia? Okay, maybe you don't want to go there. Okay, why don't you go to Southern Kaduna where a bunch of people have been killed? How many people have been killed in Abia? Go and Google it. Nobody has been killed there. Maybe one or two kidnap suspects. That's just criminality. The police can handle that. The military does not need to be there. Look, I'm telling you right now, what is happening there in Abia State is going to backfire. It's going to make more Southeast Igbo youths want to join the Biafra struggle. It's going to make them so anti-Nigerian. And this is a time when we need unity. We need unity of purpose because our economy is collapsing all around us. And so we need to be united to build up our economy. You know, people around the DSS, if you are watching it, look, don't think I'm an enemy. I'm a patriot. I love my country. That's why I'm saying all these things. I'm a successful person. I can just sit down and then face my business. But I mean, no matter what, my value is attached to the value of Nigeria. I need to say this. And I'm encouraging you, and not just the DSS, northern elders that might be watching this, northern elders, talk to this man. Call him to order. Let this man understand that what he's doing is the wrong way. I understand that this thing, that if you have a hammer, you will see all problems as a nail. And so his hammer is the military. And he sees all problems at, oh, military force, military force, military force. Look, how much has the military been able to quell the Boko Haram insurgency? How much has the military? The Shiites, you think that they've called them? Don't worry. Just look at what's happening. They are regrouping. Because these people, they are not just like, they are not enemies or people that want to fight Nigeria. They are your citizens. And you need to be careful how you deal with them. Otherwise, you're going to create a problem that is going to affect you. I mean, right now, President Muhammadu Buhari is, you know, is 70-something, right, years old. You know, people in my age bracket are no longer youths. What's going to happen if we don't solve this Boko Haram crisis? Look at what happened in other countries whereby they've had 30-year agitation crisis. What's going to happen if we had just left these people alone? If we had just been able to be equitable, you know, to treat the so-called Southeast that's now agitating for Biafra, to treat them with equity and justice, what is happening right now would not have happened without firing a single bullet. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying this as a patriot, and I urge everybody who has influence with President Muhammadu Buhari to discuss these issues with him. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.